Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine. In this quick video, I'm going to show you how to do a blur transition between two scenes in a mapcomp setup. So for this particular video, I have this scene 2 and then there is this main comp, and I have finished the second scene and now I want to transition to the first scene. For example, this is the second scene completed, and we have this scene and we are going to do a blur transition. To do that, I'm going to animate the second scene for the transition purpose for a 1 second mark. So these are the last keyframes that completes the scene 2, and then I'm going to go to the 30-second mark, and let me just I have cut this scene 2. Let me just bring it here, and what I'm going to do is that a bit zoom into the map because the scene 1 has a bit more zoom than the scene 2. For here it is 398, and for the scene 1 we have this 5.18 zoom. So the logic is to do a zoom in, so we are going to do that. And let me just bring up the scene 2 like that, and I think I can just manually add the value. For example, this is the value that I'm going for, and let's just keep the other keyframes same. Let me just delete the last two ones, and this is the transition. What I'm going to do is that next change the set up the graph for this particular transition. Here I have this simple preset in the flow plugin, and this does that to the graph. The curves create a peak like this one, and next I'm going to cut the whole scene at this particular point because at the peak this scene disappears. Now I'm going to animate the scene 1 animation, and for that I have the first start keyframes at exact the point where I have the scene 2 keyframes, and for the end keyframes I'm going to go here and add a bit of zoom to it. For example, let's go for 5.3. uh, Change the map comp here in the Geolayers panel and do a bit zoom like that. I think 5.5 works, or a bit more. Yeah, so this works for me. And next I'm going to change the graph settings and make sure the peak of the scene 1 matches the peak of the scene 2 like that. Let me just confirm this. Yeah, so these are all set, and we have our basic transition. Next I'm going to add a bit of blur to give this kind of realistic vibe to it, and for that I'm going to, let's just hide this and add an adjustment layer on top of all the elements of the scene too, because we don't want any element to be left behind. So the length of this particular adjustment layer should be the same as the animation for the transition of the scene 1 and scene 2. For example, we have for this particular video of this animation of 1 second. So I'm going to cut the adjustment layer. Let's rename it to blur, and next I'm going to apply CC radial blur, and next I'm going to change the amount, animate the amount. At the start the amount will be 0. When the graph goes to peak, you will see this. If you see this error, what you have to do is that you have to apply another effect from here, and it goes by the name of grow bounds. So you apply this one and you won't see the error, I hope so. It should be above the radial blur like that. And next I'm going to animate the radial blur to amount of 50. Remember that more the amount of this radial blur, the more it will take the rendering time. And change the this type to, I think, center zoom Let me just see. Yeah, straight zoom works. Let me just see what I had already applied. Yeah, so it was straight zoom. And when the animation finishes for the transition, we had transition to the scene 2. I will change the amount of radial blur to again 0. So let me just add easy ease to them. And yeah, this is basically it. Thank you for watching. And if you want to learn more about transitions or more types of transitions that you can employ in your short map animations, you can check out this masterclass that I had created earlier this year on the channel. And I will see you next time. Bye.